What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of DOMO Movie Talk. Today we'll be going over It Chapter 2 news, and Shane Black's Predator finally gets a synopsis, and more after this. And we're back. I needed to eat for a second. Let's start off with our first story. It Chapter 2 will be even scarier and more intense. I'm excited for this movie. Let's just say that. Let's get that out of the way. During Warner Brothers' presentation at CinemaCon, It Chapter 2 director Andreas Muschietti teased the tone that the film will have. Last year was a good one for the horror genre, with films like Jordan Peele's Get Out and Muschietti's take on Stephen King's novel It not only dominating the box office, but also gaining praise from critics and audiences alike. It Chapter 2 covers half of this. Oh my god. I've been needed to get back in the groove of things. I haven't recorded anything since Thursday morning. It Chapter 1, not 2, covers half the story from the novel, following a group of kids, self-named the Losers Club, as they come across an evil shape-shifting entity whose preferred form is that of Pennywise, the dancing clown, played by Bill Skarsgård. The sequel, approximately titled It Chapter 2, will cover the second half of the novel, taking us back 27 years after the events of the first film, although we still have over a year to go before the release of the sequel. Muschietti is already preparing audiences for the tone the film will have. Yeah, we still have... I haven't found any word on if Hader and McAvoy are confirmed. But we do know that, obviously, Bill is confirmed for the movie. He's obviously going to play Pennywise still. And, who else? Jessica Chastain, who's playing adult Beverly Marsh. I would have liked Amy Adams, but we're getting Jessica Chastain, and I'm fine with that. I just thought about that. What if we got Christina Hendricks, that chick from Mad Men? I've never seen Mad Men, but I've heard that she's good in it, and I've seen Fist Fight, and she was hilarious in that. You crazy lady. I love Ice Cube in that movie. Terrible movie, but it's so fun to watch. Among the material shown and teased by Warner Brothers during their panel at CinemaCon, they forgot the A in that sentence, so it's just CinemaCon, was that of It Chapter 2 with Muschietti teasing it is going to be scarier and more intense, and even advising the audience to bring your own adult diapers. The studio also teased the beginning of production this summer, but didn't reveal any details. If you've looked on my Instagram, if you looked on Muschietti's Instagram, you see that they started production pretty much. Script is done. They just need to cast. Right now they're shooting. I think they're going to start shooting soon. I think it's next month that they're starting to shoot. And he's already back in Witcham Street, which is, it's not called Witcham Street in real life. It's the town, I think, that they shot the Witcham Street scenes in the first film. It Chapter 2 will introduce the adult version of the Losers as they go back to Derry to confront it and with their deepest fears one more time. While there have been a lot of rumors and tons of fan casting for these adult characters, Jesus, there are no names confirmed yet, though there are 3 that have been attached to the project. First is Jessica Chastain, whose involvement has been heavily rumored since the sequel was confirmed, and has been reported that she is in talks to take the role of Beverly Marsh. That is confirmed, actually. It's just the other 2 that have been announced aren't confirmed yet, so get it right. I'm so sorry. I act like such a know-it-all when it comes to horror news and shit, because I follow that so much. Most recently, it was reported that James McAvoy and Bill Hader are in talks to star as Bill Denbrough and Richie Tozier, respectively. The only names confirmed for the sequel that The only names confirmed for the sequel are the young versions of the Losers Club, as the film will feature a few flashbacks after all the novel jumps back and forth between past and present, and of course Skarsgård reprising his role as Pennywise. As for plot details and plans for the story, Muschietti has previously shared his plans to give a darker storyline for Mike, while Skarsgård hopes it will explore the mind of It. It Chapter 2 will start filming this summer in Toronto, aiming for a September 2019 release date. As the production date approaches, more details will be revealed, and hopefully it won't be long until the studio reveals the main cast and other names that will join the story. I read that article really fast. I was not expecting to read that article so fast. But yeah, this makes me so excited for It Chapter 2, because I loved it. I still have yet to review it, though. I will first review the one that came out in the 1990s. I will review. Wait, what the hell? I will review the second one. I will review It, the proper one, the one that came out last year. After that, like a week after that. So stay tuned this week. I will be reviewing the first It starting. I will be reviewing the 2 It movies when June starts, because that's when like everything's gonna hit the fan. So I might as well get those done when that happens. So yeah, look forward to those. On to our next story. Shane Black's The Predator gets an official synopsis. This makes me even happier in my life, because Shane Black's Predator is one of my most anticipated movies this year, because I love The Predator. I love Predator. Predator 2 is good. Alien versus Predator. I don't remember if there was a Predator 3. If there was, it wasn't very memorable. Alien V versus Predator. That's okay. Aliens versus Predator Requiem. That's a piece of flaming hot garbage. And I enjoyed 2010's Predators. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was bad. Yeah. Anyway, Predator fans rejoice. An official detailed synopsis of the plot to the long-awaited and highly anticipated revamp of the classic sci-fi horror franchise that has finally been released. The movie, which is scheduled for release later this year, has been overseen by writer-director Shane Black, who also directed Iron Man 3 and co-wrote it, rather. Not completely wrote it. He co-wrote it. He also wrote and directed one of my favorite films of 2016, The Nice Guys. I've not seen Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, so I can't comment on that, but I love The Nice Guys. It's a good movie. Black, who played the role of Hawkins in the original Predator. Oh, he did? He did? Oh my god! Great job, guys. You got somebody who worked on the original Predator. I applaud you. I didn't even know that was him. You learn something new every day. Has gone on to have a varied career across 3 decades in Hollywood. He is perhaps best known for his work as a screenwriter, having written the original Lethal Weapon and co-written The Monster Squad. He made his directorial debut in 2005 with Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which he also adapted to screen from the novel by Brett Halliday. Does that say Halliday? Maybe I'm reading too much into that, because I've seen Ready Player One so many times. By the way, after my next story, it's a Ready Player One related story. Hey, fuck you guys. More recently, he directed and co-wrote the screenplay for Iron Man 3 and is currently working on a film based on the superhero pulp hero Doc Savage, in addition to The Predator. Fox's summary hints at a literal evolution of the Predator concept, with the titular alien race returning to Earth en masse, with powers taken from other alien races. From the outer reaches of space. Jesus Christ, no. Don't do that to me. That picture is terrifying. Oh, no. The way predators open their mouths freak me the fuck out. I don't know why. From the outer reaches of space to the small town streets of suburbia, the hunt comes home in Shane Black's explosive reinvention of the Predator series. Now the universe's most lethal hunters are stronger, smarter, and deadlier than ever before, having genetically upgraded themselves with DNA from other species. When a young boy accidentally triggers their return to Earth, only a ragtag crew of ex-soldiers and a disgruntled science teacher. What the fuck? And a disgruntled science teacher can prevent the end of the human race. Who's the science teacher? That's my question. Like, who's the science teacher, bro? But that image is horrifying. Dude, that shit makes my blood, like, curl up. Even though blood doesn't curl, it makes my blood cold. How about that? The biggest revelation to emerge from the synopsis is the fact that The Predator is a continuation of the story started in the original films, not a full reboot, but some had anticipated. This news is a welcome relief to those who feared Black might go too far afield in his efforts to make The Predator stand out from other recent reboots, which were accused of not doing anything new with their core concepts. Fans have been increasingly paranoid about the fate of the Predator franchise and the status of the current movie, and it is not hard to blame them. Between Disney's taking ownership of Fox Studios and reports of the latest movie undergoing numerous reshoots that completely changed its third act, there has been much to fuel their concerns that the production on The Predator isn't running smoothly. Hopefully the anticipated release of the movie's first trailer will do something to soothe the fandom's fears. September 14th, 2018. Jesus Christ, we are so close to that. I did not even know it was coming out then. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to The Predator. I don't know about you guys. If you guys aren't looking forward to The Predator, your loss. I'm definitely going to see it. Regardless, I'm going to see it. I'm so hyped for that movie because I love the Alien franchise. Love Predator franchise. I love so many franchises, it's not even funny. But, like, Predator holds a special place because it's one of the first times I ever took notice of Arnold Schwarzenegger in a good role. Same for Danny Glover. I'd never seen Danny Glover. But the first time I saw Predator 2, I was like, I'm watching out for this guy. And then I saw Saw, and I was like, goddamn, guys. Yeah, they went there with Danny Glover. Which is cool. Anyway, my next story is Annabelle 3 is a 2019 Conjuring Universe film. As you all know, this year is The Nun. I'm not looking forward to it. I loved Conjuring 2. Loved Conjuring. Hated Annabelle. Loved Annabelle Creation. But I'm not looking forward to The Nun. I really am not. Okay, so Warner Brothers has revealed that the 2019 Conjuring Cinematic Universe film is as yet untitled Annabelle 3. The film is being directed by Gary Dauberman, who has become Warner Brothers' go-to screenwriter for horror movie franchise after his efforts on the previous two Annabelle films and last year's box office sensation It. He has also written this year's Conjuring series installment, The Nun, a spin-off based around the demonic nun Valak from The Conjuring 2, and is handling the script for 2019's It Chapter 2. The Annabelle films are themselves spin-offs based around the demonically possessed Annabelle doll from James Wan's first Conjuring movie, whereas the first Annabelle movie was a profitable venture with a 257 million worldwide box office take on a 6.5 million budget that was largely dismissed by its critics. Its follow-up, Annabelle Creation, was far better received critically and grossed even more at the box office, with a 307 million worldwide on a 15 million budget. With that kind of huge profit versus cost ratio, it was probably inevitable that Warner Brothers would go back to the Annabelle. What? At some point. Warner Brothers scheduled an untitled Conjuring movie for release in 2019 last week, and THR is now confirming that the date will in fact go to the third Annabelle movie. Doberman is once again writing the film in addition to directing, though details beyond that are being kept under lock and key for now. That includes information on where exactly Annabelle 3 will fall in the somewhat confusing timeline of the Annabelle films. Yeah, they don't have good consistency, but at least you can say the second one's good. I think that the second creation, if I remember correctly, is a prequel to the first one, which is a prequel to The Conjuring, I think, which is also a spin-off of The Conjuring, and also, I think, The Conjuring, yeah. I think, is that the timeline? I don't know. I don't care that much. I've spent way too much time working on timelines because I remember every timeline from The Flash. I just realized that I'm pointing at a black screen. I remember every timeline from The Flash. I remember Flashpoint. I remember the regular timeline. I remember the timeline where he didn't go back in time and stop a lot of things, like Cisco's death. And I remember when he went back in time and tried to stop Jay Garrick. And I mean, not tried to stop Jay Garrick. When he went back in time and Jay Garrick stopped him. And I also remember the time when he time traveled, went back, and fixed everything. Fans of the Conjuring franchise may recall that the first Annabelle movie was a prequel to Wan's original installment, and directly set up that movie's prologue, where the anonymous, I don't know how to say that fucking word, causes problems for some unsuspecting nursing students. Annabelle creation went even further back in time to reveal the story of the doll maker who designed the Annabelle doll. The latter film fed right into the events of the original Annabelle movie, with its final scene showing Annabelle's opening sequence from a different point of view. The events of Annabelle and Annabelle creation take place several years apart, so it would only make sense for Annabelle 3 to explore that as yet undocumented portion of the Conjuring movie timeline. It is possible the film will go in a different direction, but it would only risk mucking up the larger franchise's timeline in doing so. Either way, it will be interesting to see if Doberman can successfully make the transition from writing horror movies to directing them with the third chapter in the Annabelle series. If there's a downside to this news, it's that a third trip to the Annabelle well is being greenlit ahead of the other two Conjuring films in active development, The Conjuring 3 and The Crooked Man. The latter, in particular, sounds intriguing and has been described by Wan as a dark fairy tale, which is a far cry from the other spin-offs thus far. Meanwhile, The Conjuring 3 appeared to be on track for a 2019 release last year, but it's possible Warner Brothers is keeping that film on the back burner until Wan becomes available to direct it. That's a smart move, because first one was good, second one was great. Actually, both of them are great. If you're not going to get Wan to direct it, don't bother making it at all. That's the only way you can make the Conjuring trilogy. Either get Wan on every single one, don't make the last one. That's the way it has to work. Anyway, on to the next story. I'm sorry, I had to. I am hopefully going to try and see this 2 more times next weekend before I see Infinity War. But Ready Player One was a box office success. We all know this. This was an obvious thing. It was a box office success because China literally, they ate this up. Like Transformers Age of Extinction. Just goes to show China actually has a good taste in movies. Because Age of Extinction, that's a horrible film. But this, China, you did good on this. Anyway, now that Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One has been in theaters for about a month, it's safe to say the film was a success at the box office. Earlier in his career, the legendary director was perennial? I don't fucking know. was a perennial threat to break commercial records and frequently did so thanks to blockbusters such as Jaws, E.T., and Jurassic Park. However, in recent years, it appears he's lost some clout. In the time between Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and Ready Player One, 2012's Lincoln was the only new Spielberg release to earn more than $100 million domestically. Several of those films were Oscar-contending historical dramas like The Post, rarely ones to pull out huge numbers, but even Spielberg's attempts at the genre fare, the BFG, didn't do very well. BFG's not good, which is unfortunate, because I thought it was going to be good, because I loved that book, and I loved the, animated thing that they had for it. I thought it was good. And then he made it, and I was like, God damn it, throughout the entire movie, because it's so bad. Months ago, few would have predicted Ready Player One would end up being the filmmaker's biggest hit in a decade. The adaptation of Ernest Cline's novel became embroiled, arguably unfairly, in controversy due to its reference-heavy marketing campaign that tried to push the movie as little more than a nostalgia trip. I can agree with that. It is a nostalgia trip, but the nostalgia is a part of the story. It's its own character. It's not really just for show. It's really its own character. The source material itself was also the subject of much ire, with Twitter users signaling out specific passages to illustrate why the story wasn't worthy of the big screen treatment. However, Spielberg defied the odds and delivered something that connected with audience, especially on a global level. In what has been a relatively quiet start to 2018 at the multiplex, notable exception, Black Panther, Ready Player One currently stands as one of the most successful films at the U.S. box office this year. Premiering over Easter weekend, Ready Player One won its opening weekend with a healthy $41.7 million haul and currently stands at $126.1 million for its stateside total. The arrival of Paramount's horror smasher Quiet Place took some business away, but Ready Player One has been holding well throughout its run. Its biggest weekend-to-weekend drop-off so far has been 53.2% between its second and third frames, which is a good figure. Ready Player One is only held on to the number one position for a single weekend, but it's still been in the top 10 for 4 weeks in a row, which is impressive, not compared to Black Panther, which has almost been in the top 10 for almost 2 months. Oh wait, no, it has been in the top 10 for 2 months. My bad. Christ, man. You guys did so well with Black Panther, it's still in the top 10. Anyway, the biggest factor behind this is the word of mouth, which was considerably better than some presumed going in. Early reactions following Ready Player One surprise screening at SXSW, I don't know how to pronounce that, I think it's Screw, maybe I'm wrong, were mostly positive, with many critics feeling it was a return to old Spielberg fun. The social media responses turned into full reviews that made Ready Player One the latest in a growing line of Spielberg films to be certified fresh. As he has done previously in his career, Spielberg elevated a subpar book into something that was more special, hitting viewers with an emotional punch about the real Easter eggs we make in life. Some felt he didn't explore the themes of pop culture fandom as deeply as he could have, but most were in agreement it made for an entertaining time at the movies. I would 100% agree. Ready Player One was also well placed on the release calendar, coming out long after Black Panther had rewritten the record books. This past March looked like a summer month at the outset, with several genre pictures vying for ticket sales. Unfortunately, many of these disappointed because of lackluster reviews, like A Wrinkle in Time, 93.6 million total. The movie sucked. It deserved that. It deserved less than that. I'm mad I ever saw it. Tomb Raider, 56.4 million total, which is unfortunate because it was actually kind of good. Pacific Rim Uprising all struggled to make an impact at the box office and faded relatively quickly. Yes, Uprising was the one to finally unseat Black Panther at on the weekend charts, but its 28.1 million opening was far less than the original's 37.2 million debut. To date, the sequel has made only 58.6 million domestically, so it obviously wasn't in much demand. Ready Player One was able to take advantage of weak competition which only increased its overall appeal. While it's great to see Spielberg can make a crowd-pleasing movies, especially since Indiana Jones 5 is next, it became clear Ready Player One was going to need some help from the overseas market to become profitable. The 126.1 U.S. haul is good enough for third place on the 2018 chart so far, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to recoup the reported 175 million production budget. Thankfully, international audiences came out in full force to push Spielberg latest into the black. Page 2, how China saved Ready Player One. Okay. There's a second page to this. Christ, that's a lot of reading already. I'm glad I took this story. With that 175 million price tag in mind, the general rule of thumb production budget times 2 production budget times 2 break even point dictates Ready Player One needed to earn about 350 million worldwide in order to make all of its money back. It has far exceeded that figure, grossing 521.5 million globally as of this writing. Yes, spam. This means its profit based on box office numbers alone is in the 171.5 million range, and that will only increase as its time in theaters comes to a close and the film becomes available on home media. In fact, adjusted for inflation, Ready Player One is Spielberg's 6th largest moneymaker of all time, and it could pass War of the Worlds, which has 591.7 million for 5th when it's all said and done. Where Ready Player One did monster business in China to date, where Ready Player One did monster business was in China. To date, the movie has grossed 193 million in the Middle Kingdom, making it Warner Bros.' most successful film in the country ever. Spielberg hasn't been much of a draw in China, so Ready Player One's performance was quite surprising. It was a welcome one, however, that the Chinese box office is what truly made the film's noteworthy success as it is. Ready Player One was not released in China. If Ready Player One was not released in China, its foreign total would currently be 202.4 million. When you add that to the 126.1 million domestic total, the worldwide sum only 328.5 million, well below the previously established 350 million benchmark for profit. Most impressively, Ready Player One was able to post these numbers in China while playing directly against Pacific Rim Uprising. It's no secret the sequel was greenlit primarily because of the 2013 original 411 million worldwide total, and which 111.9 of which came from China. When you also factor in Uprising, production company Legendary Pictures is a subsidiary of the China-based Wanda Group. It seemed likely Pacific Rim would be a major franchise in the territory. That turned out to be far from the case, however. Uprising only made 100.4 million in the Middle Kingdom, and overall the film performed far worse than its predecessor. Given that both movies were competing for the same demographic, one was always going to lose the battle, and Ready Player One came through with a surprise upset. Perhaps the positive reviews had something to do with it, as Uprising was widely panned. Yeah, positive reviews for RPO, however you want to say it, really helped out with that, and I support it. Warner Brothers has to be delighted things turned out this way, and Ready Player One emerged as a viable option in a barren landscape. As many know by now, Avengers Infinity War is about to make its way into theaters, where it will annihilate everything in its path. Not exactly groundbreaking to say a Marvel movie will do well, but even by their standards, Avengers Infinity War is going to be an enormous event that may break the all-time opening weekend record, which, as of the time of this recording, it already has in 2 days. What the fuck? It already beat out Star Wars, man. Biggest opening weekend ever. If it beats Star Wars opening weekend by almost 100 million, it's going straight to the top. Number one earning movie of all time. Star Wars is number two. Just barely under Avatar. It's going to beat all of it. No questions said. Now comes the time where Ready Player One and the rest of its fellow holdovers will have to compete for whatever scraps are left, but Spielberg's film isn't in a do-or-die situation. It's already proven its worth before the more high-profile movies, Deadpool 2 and Solar, are just weeks away. Get the summer season rolling, and there's a new tentpole every week. Warner Brothers had a most fruitful 2017 thanks to hits like Wonder Woman, Dunkirk, and It, but last fall the studio had a rough go at it. Despite widespread acclaim, Blade Runner 2049 followed the footsteps of its predecessor at the box office as a box office disappointment, and Justice League's story had been well documented by now. Unlike Paramount, Warner Brothers wasn't in a place where they were desperate for a blockbuster, but it's always nice to have a winner under your belt. Hopefully this is a sign of things to come, and Ocean's 8, Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald, and Aquaman can also be successes. I think this is a noteworthy thing. Like, we are this close to Ocean's 8, a long ways away from Grindelwald, and then we're like that long away from Aquaman. So we have time to develop these things. Not really necessarily for Ocean's 8, because that's, I think, coming out in July. But they have time to build up Fantastic Beasts and Aquaman, and really, that's all they have to do. The next story is a disappointing one, because I've seen this movie God knows how many times now, and the more I see it, the more I dislike it. And that is, Paul Feig still wants a Ghostbusters sequel. Mundane Matt, or $3 Theater as he is now on, he has that channel now. He doesn't like it. I thought he was full of shit. And then I saw it. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was terrible. But then I keep watching it and I'm like, it just keeps getting worse. So yeah. Paul Feig still wants to make a sequel to his 2016 Ghostbusters reboot. It was a long road getting another Ghostbusters movie made following 1989's Ghostbusters 2. Fun fact, Batman also came out that year, as well as Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. Which is also, another fun fact, the year that It takes place in. That movie came out 5 years after the enormous success of the original, but the cast and crew considered the movie a one-off. The subsequent success of the real Ghostbusters cartoon and assorted merchandise led to the studio pushing for a sequel, but it was released in a crowded summer period that included Batman and Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, so it wasn't quite as profitable. Bill Murray has since repeatedly stated his dislike for the sequel and refused to return for a third movie. There was a period when the studio actively developed Ghostbusters 3, but would only sign off if Murray agreed to appear. But despite being sent numerous scripts, the actor refused. Following the death of co-star and writer Harold Ramis, who played Egon, the studio instead chose to develop an all-female reboot with Feig directing. Feig's Ghostbusters featured a great cast and earned mostly solid reviews, but it was also met with an intense online backlash from vocal fans, and the box office returns were underwhelming partly because of that. Despite Ghostbusters ending with a post-credit scene teasing a sequel, the disappointing numbers seem to have ruled out a direct follow-up. However, in an interview with Yahoo Movies, Paul Feig says he would still love to get the band back together and remains proud of his work on the movie. We would love to. It's really up to the studio to want to do it. We had so much fun making that movie. The movie's just really built an audience in the 2 years since it's been out. I get contacted every day by people who are such fans of it, and so many women who are inspired by seeing women in science. I will go to my grave so proud of that movie, and I'm so proud of what the cast did in the film. Listen, your cast was good, but your movie sucked. Let's just get that out of the way. Your cast was spot on. I love the cast in the movie. It's just, the script doesn't work. The budget of the reboot became a point of contention last year when Ghostbusters creator and co-star Dan Aykroyd claimed Feig had widely overspent on the movie, and his decision to reshoot scenes he had originally cut during production added 30 through 40 million to the budget. Sony later countered this, stating the cost of reshoots was closer to 3 through 4 million instead. So literally just divide it by 10 and you have a... And all you have is... Oh my god. And literally after that, all you have is a 27 million difference. What the fuck? Get your shit together, son. While the Ghostbusters reboot wasn't the success Sony Pictures was hoping for, love for the franchise around the world remains high. A direct sequel to Feig's movie probably won't happen at this stage, and while various concepts have been thrown around for the future of the series, including Aykroyd's own suggestion of a Netflix streaming series, it appears the only project in active development is the Ghostbusters animated movie. Producer Ivan Reitman confirmed an animated Ghostbusters movie is in the works, and the story will be told from the perspective of Ghost. Fletcher Moles is attached to the direct, but while it's said to be aiming for a 2019 release, nothing has been revealed about the project for some time. Good. Now, let's get into some news after my Ready Player One news that actually makes me happy. So let's end this stuff on a high note, shall we? I am actually going to cancel that one thing about Doom because I don't really care anymore. Let's end this on a high note. John Wick 3 teaser poster and official synopsis revealed. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so happy you guys are doing it. Did I not shave it all? Oh shit. I didn't get that part, but I don't care. At CinemaCon, Lionsgate released a teaser poster and official synopsis for the highly anticipated action sequel John Wick Chapter 3. For an actor who often gets so much flack about his lack of range, Keanu Reeves has sure played a lot of memorable characters over the years. Reeves will probably forever be most associated with playing the unlikely savior Neo in The Matrix, with his two outlinings as time-traveling slacker Ted Theodore and Logan in the Bill and Ted franchise running a close second. In my opinion, he will be most synonymous being Constantine. He was the first Constantine, if I remember correctly, and he is, in terms of movie Constantine, he's probably going to be the only Constantine we ever have. In terms of the Matrix, he shares he owes everything to that, his success and shit. But the funny thing is, it's one of my least favorite Ready Player One posters, because if I were to get it, I'd just get it to have it right over on my other wall and say, hey, I own the poster. I don't like it, but I own it. My favorite referenced poster is probably either Labyrinth or Risky Business. Most likely Labyrinth, because I like the design of Artemis, and her dress is in a swirl, like that, and it's like that, and I really like that look. And if I can find it, I would definitely pick it up. In 2014, though, Reeves began playing his latest iconic character, put upon assassin John Wick, in the film of the same name. Wick begins the franchise as a retired contract killer while living a quiet life with his beloved puppy, a gift from his late wife. When the son of a mafia boss makes the fatal mistake of crossing Wick, stealing his car and killing his dog. That Thanos meme is so funny, by the way. The sleeping giant awakens sending perhaps the world's most dangerous man on a quest for vengeance. That vengeance attained, Wick planned to resume his retirement, but the world would have other plans. Wick was soon summoned back into the Assassin's Fray in 2017's John Wick Chapter 2, which saw an old associate of John's come back into the call in a debt, one that not even the nearly mythical Wick could refuse. After being betrayed, Wick ended up breaking an unbreakable rule. He killed a man claiming refuge inside the neutral territory of the Continental Hotel. Now Wick must fight his way out of a New York City. What? Where every assassin wants his head. John Wick Chapter 3 arrives in 2019, and at CinemaCon, Lionsgate released the first teaser poster and an official synopsis via Collider for the sure-to-be thrilling sequel. Check them out below. Okay, the teaser poster, I could be more impressed with it. It is just a teaser poster, so it's not really that big of a deal if I don't like it that much. John Wick, Keanu Reeves is on the run for two reasons. He's being hunted for a global $14 million open contract on his life, and for breaking a central rule, taking a life on Continental Hotel grounds. The victim was a member of the high table who ordered the open contract. John should have already been executed, except the Continental's manager, Winston, has given him a 1-hour grace period before his excommunicated membership is revoked, banning from all services and cut off from other members. John uses the service industry to stay alive as he fights and kills his way out of New York City. You guys like that? I do like the effect, though. Like, it's scraped. Like metal scuff. Exactly like the bottom of my computer. Huh. While John Wick Chapter 2 saw the reluctant hitman set on a course that took him to several different countries, it looks like Chapter 3 will take place primarily in New York City, at least going by the above synopsis. Whether this means that prior reports of Chapter 3's production leading to locales like Russia, Canada, Japan, and Spain were incorrect is not unclear, as even if most of the sequel takes place in New York City, that does not mean it will take place there. I English good. Much like how Chapter 2 began quickly after the ending of the original John Wick, it looks like Chapter 3 will resume the story almost immediately. John ended Chapter 2 by being given a 1-hour grace period before Winston to get as far as he can, but after that the rest is up to him. An almost real-time look at Wick's quest to escape New York City is an idea with tons of potential and would be fitting with the prior films, which rarely let up on the brakes to let audiences catch their breath once the action started. John Wick may want to retire, but if his movies keep being this good, fans may never be willing to let him. Yeah, pretty much. Let's see. The release date for John Wick Chapter 3, May 17th, 2019. Hey, May 10th is my sister's birthday, so I wonder what movie's going to be coming out May 10th, 2019. I know it's not going to be Avengers 4. I think it is. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. And I genuinely do not fucking care. Isn't... I think that Avengers 4 is coming May 3rd, 2019? Doesn't really matter. Yeah, guys. It's been fun. I just wanted to let you know, once I have to get this computer back to my school district, I might not be doing a lot of movie talk. I'll probably have to be printing out stories and then reading them and not being able to put them in the description for you guys to read them yourselves. But yeah, that's about it for this episode of Movie Talk. If you enjoyed this episode of Movie Talk, you can find my playlist for Movie Talk, hopefully, right there. I might forget in post. I don't know. But if you like this video and want to see more, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow me on Instagram and Twitter at the DOMO Nation. You can also follow me on Instagram on my second account, the DOMO Nation Customs. You can also subscribe to my second account, Domo's Collectibles and Toys Chest. I think that's what it's called. No, it's Domo's Toys and Collectibles Chest. I always mix those words up because C comes before T. And I've been your boy Domo. And until my next video, tell everyone, be good people, y'all. Peace out.